Hi, this is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and this is Thursday, October the 18th. This will be our chart lesson for today. And today was a trading range. You can see that. Price has spent 90% of the day in about a 6-point range between just above 1451 and just below 1458. Of course, we broke lower and failed, broke higher and failed, broke lower and failed again, and then we tried to go lower once again. Just remember, once you know it's a trading range day, which once we failed out, once you failed down here, there's a good chance, and then especially once you failed out here. But on a trading range day, just fade every new high and every new low. Here's your first new low of the day. You fade that. Look, you ride that all the way up. Here's your new high of the day. You fade that. You ride that all the way down. And look, you didn't get a new low here. And I marked that one in green, but there's another reason you could take that trade I'll tell you in a minute. But then now you get a new low down here, and you take that long, and look, it comes all the way back, and then you get another new low here, and you catch that new low. But your best trades are 1, 2, 3, 4. That's your 4 best trades, and they're all real easy. None of them take any real heat, and now there's always trades in the middle, but those are the ones that are risky. And you notice I didn't mark any in here, and I marked a couple here, and I'll show you why they were okay. They're not great setups, but I'll show you why they're okay. But let's go over each of the trades, and then I want to tell you a little bit about something else, and then we'll go over that. And I'll spend a little time on that, and then we'll call it a day. But let me just hit the trades real quickly. We opened up, and we're in this kind of down sloping range, but notice we got a little double bottom from yesterday. And so now you got to be thinking, hey, we may be in a range, but when we don't quite get there here, that makes it questionable. But there's strong support down here, and you got a double bottom. But now you got to break this trend line. I'm surprised we didn't get up here, but there was a lot of selling in here, and you can see it took a while to get through there. They tried to. There was just a lot of selling along that area right there, and it took a little bit of work to get through there. But then look what happened, how it shot on off there. But let me show you this. Notice this, and let me show you what it looked like. Look how bullish this is looking. But you got a double top right here, and that's the first break of this trend channel. And then this bar comes up there and makes a double top. So that looks like a good place to go short, and it may be. But with a move that strong, you're probably going to get another push at this. And but even if you went short right there, you probably would have been okay. But then look what happens. You make your next bar, and then now you got 2 overlapping bars. So it's better to wait on those. And once I saw those 2 overlapping bars, I dropped a limit order right there. And look what happens. It ticked up, and it's kind of scary because it's looking bullish. But then look what happens. It sells off. And so that's how I like to trade that. And look how far this is away from the EMA. And you got this little overlap, and you got a double top here, and then it's selling off, and then now we're pulling back. And at first I thought we were probably going to go on up here and test this, but then you got to be thinking we probably got to come back and test these lows. But let me show you that. Well, I'll wait on that. But notice all this overlap in here with all these dojis and all. That's not a good place to be going long. And look, it looks like it's going to go higher, and all it does is trap people. And now look, now you got a failed second entry long, and you figure we got to retest the lows. Great place to go short right there. And look what happens. Boom, boom, boom. It just shoots off like a rocket. And then suddenly it gets all the way down here at this double bottom, and it breaks below it. And look at that doji. So now, look how far the EMA is. So now I'm thinking, hey, I'm going to drop a limit order right here. Then the next bar forms, and it's a little bit higher, and I'm thinking, ooh, I might have missed it. So now I move my limit order right here, and boom, it ticks lower, and now I'm in, and we got a double bottom on top of that. Then now look, it's going higher, but this is an overlap right here. So what's probably going to happen here is it's going to break out of there and pull back, and look at that. Boom, it pulls back, and that's kind of scary. But I'm already out of this trade because I got my 4 ticks, because I entered right here, and we got 5 ticks from there. So I'm already out. But now I'm thinking, hey, I may want to enter again because now we got a breakout pullback long going on here. But actually, this is just more overlap. So what happens? We break out and it snaps back, and then it turns into a breakout pullback long, and now it's going higher. And look at it. And now we got a couple of overlapping bars. Maybe that's a good place to put a limit order right there. Now you got 3 overlapping bars, and then you get a double top, and what happens is turning back down. And if you'd had a limit order there, if you got filled, you're already out now. But now you failed out the low side of all those overlapping bars. So what's going to happen? It's going to snap back the other way probably. Now you just got more overlap to the low side, but now you got a little double bottom down here. What happens if it breaks out there? Boom. And it snaps back. And now it breaks out the high side and snaps back. But now you got this trend line working, and you just came off the low. So we're probably going to the high, at least to test these highs again. And you got a higher low, and you got all that stem. Could that be a breakout pullback long? Sure enough, boom, and there it goes. And then you start to get overlap again. And now you got a little double top, and it breaks higher, and I bet it snaps back. There it comes back again. Of course, I already know what the prices did today, but just notice what happens whenever you get all this overlap. It breaks out and usually snaps back. And then we finally get above that point there, and it does. It breaks out, it comes back and tests it, and then it goes higher again. And then look, now you're racing higher. And then suddenly you get a little doji, got some overlap right there. Wonder what would happen if you put your limit order right there. Look how far away from the EMA you are. Look, it ticks one tick higher, and now you got some more overlap, and then next thing you know, it makes a little breakout pullback short, and it's racing to the downside. And this was a great entry. And you know you're in a range now. You got to fade these new highs. This is the first new low, first new high, next new low, another new low. And you got to fade all those on a range day. They're going to be your best trade. So again, I marked this one in green. We're coming down, and we hit the low side of the trend channel. We already got strong support here, and you got a little matching lows. It breaks lower. That's a great place to put a limit order, knowing it's probably going to snap back, and you're in and out of that one pretty quick. And then you actually have a little double bottom here, but notice it's not quite to the trend channel yet. That doesn't happen till down here, and then there's your little doji. That's a much better bar. Put your order right there. It ticks lower, and boom, it snaps right back. And then finally, you've had your trend line break, and you move to your new low, and you start to get all this overlap again. And you could have gone long, put your order there, 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 or there. And even if you started right here, it only went 1, 2, 3, 4 ticks against you. So nowhere near. And notice how it's always got stems. That's a good sign. It's going to bounce. And you got to be careful with that. You're probably better off to wait for a break above a bar once you've got a break lower. And notice you didn't get that till right here. That's the first time that it broke lower, and then you were able to get a break above the next bar. So that would have been the first place you really could have gone long there. This one broke lower, but notice it didn't get back above that bar, and then you got a little double top, and you don't want to be going long above that. So then it breaks down again, and it breaks lower right here, but notice no break above that bar. And then you get the next bar, it breaks lower, but notice no break above that bar. And then finally down here, it breaks lower, and then you get a break above that bar. So that's where you want to go long if you didn't try to buy below one of the dojis or whatever. So, and then if you caught this, you know, you could have rode this all the way up till right at 3 o'clock and you exit. But I want to show you something. One of the traders asked me about a doji and how do I handle a doji. Well, really all a doji is a trading range. It's just a 1 bar trading range. And let me show you some dojis. This is a doji. Let me make it a little bigger where they're easy to see. That's a doji. That's a doji. This is a doji. I consider that to be a doji. There's no real, there's 1 tick of body and mostly bar. There's your doji. This is a doji with bigger stems. That's a doji. This is a doji. That's a doji. I really almost consider that a doji right there. Um, but you know, these are definitely your best. Whenever you start to see all this overlap and dojis way at extremes, you gotta consider that. And the way you handle a doji is what happens when prices are in a trading range, just like this range right here. You fade the new highs and new lows. The trend always takes precedence though, so you're better off to wait on the break out the low side of a trading range and buy, especially when they're small. So let's go back over here and let me just show you what happened up here at the highs. Notice that, we broke above here's all your highs. We broke above that and we're racing up, and look how bullish that looks. And but notice we broke above this trend channel too. And then suddenly there's a doji. And look how far we are away from the MA. So now we got some overlap up here. Break above the trend channel. So I'm thinking I'm going to put my order right here, a limit sell order, and if it ticks up there, I'll get my trade will get executed. And look what happens. It ticks up, and then boom. Still overlapping a little bit, and then look. So now it ticks lower, but it's probably going to fail out that side and pull back. And look at there, it pulls back. So now if it goes below that bar, it's a breakout pullback short. And look what happens, and now it's racing down. And look at those moves. And look, you notice you got some overlap right here, and you got a doji. But this one closed way down here. This is not a good doji. But it's still probably going to snap back, and you see it's trying to snap back. But that's not a good one because it closed. It opened down here and came up, but it closed all the way back down here, and that's very negative. You want a little doji, or you want to be way away from the EMA, and we're below it here, but we're not way away from it. So that's just a pullback to test this breakout area right here. So then we're moving down, and now look, we kind of went into this overlap again, and we tick higher, and look, it fails, and now it's coming down, and so now you got a bunch of overlaps. Now it's going to break out the low side, and look, it fails and comes back. Now you got some more overlap. Now you got another one. It breaks lower. Now you got some more overlap, and look, it breaks out down here, and it fails and snaps back, and then it comes up here, but the trend is down, so it's still working its way down, but every time it breaks out of something, it snaps back, and you just got to be aware of that. And finally you get down here at these lows, and look at that. That's a big doji right there. And the next bar is an inside bar. It's real negative, but it's an inside bar, and then we break lower, and that ends as another doji. So now you got 3 overlapping bars, you got 2 matching lows, so you drop a limit order there and hope it bounces. Look how far away we are from the MO. We just broke through the trend channel line. Boom. And then look, it breaks lower and snaps straight back. That's the quickest 4 ticks you can ever get. And you got to figure we're probably coming back to the EMA and the trend channel, or the trend line. And then you hit a doji, and look, it breaks lower, and it snaps back, and now it goes out the high side, and it probably snapped back there, and it snaps right back, and now it breaks out the low side of those and snaps back, and now it's going lower, get some overlap, it breaks lower, and it snaps back, breaks lower. Now you end as a doji down here. Now you're looking for a low again, and we're real close, so you probably put your limit order right there. Goes down, touches the line, snaps back, and there it comes back to the other way. Goes higher. Now you got all this overlap, and look, it ends as another doji, so it breaks lower, and off you go. So you notice how each of these lows is a little bit higher, but you got your trend. Your trend is the downside. But just remember, if you see a doji, and you got them all up through here, and I can show you that over and over, though. Once you see some overlap, whichever way it breaks out, it's going to snap back. And if it breaks out to the high side and snaps back, then it's a good chance it could turn into a breakout pullback long, just like right here. It comes up here and it pulls back and then breaks out, and then look, it snaps back and then goes back to the upside. And but just keep that in mind, that a doji, when you start to get all this overlap, it's no different than this bigger trading. It's just that right there, even that one bar, it's a 1 bar trading range. And if you were to go to a tiny or smaller chart, you might see a range that looks just like this inside that bar. So you got to keep that in mind, that it's a trading range, and you got to understand what happens in trading ranges is prices break out and fail and snap back. Most of the time, it's very rare that prices will break out of a trading range and just take off. And it does occasionally, but it doesn't happen very often. Most of the time, you're going to get some snapbacks. So nothing works 100% of the time. Keep that in mind. I'm going to wrap it up. This is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com. I hope that little lesson on dojis helps you with your trading. And so that's why I'm always saying don't enter above or below a doji unless it's in the right context. And that's like this right here, and this right here, and this one right here, and here, and here. You got to make sure it's in the right context. And when you get into all this mess, the only thing you can do safely is just kind of get on with the trend at the highs of these things. Otherwise, you're just gambling if you're entering. So, and try to get in the highs because we're going down. But anyway, I'm going to wrap it up. This is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.